I want the truth and nothing but the truth.
What's up everyone, it's your lawyer, Godot, and in one corner we have Jotaro Kujo, the Stardust Man, and in the other corner we have All Might, the symbol of peace. Both Jotaro and All Might are considered to be the physically strongest and fastest stand user or hero of their series. Both are symbols of justice that inspire their peers. Both are teachers to the newer generation of stand users or heroes. Both have a student of their own they teach the most. Both have an inheritance where their will is passed down, which is the Joestar inheritance and One for All. Finally, both have their rivals to their inheritance like Dio and All for One. So, after all the comparisons I've made, it seems like these two are kindred spirits, which appropriately brings up the question, who would win in a fight? And honestly, this is perfect timing to answer that question given that JoJo Stone Ocean Batch 2 just came out, and My Hero Academia Season 6 is dropping at the very beginning of next month. Now, before I get into the verses, make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe with notifications on. It really helps out the channel a lot. Now, on to this legendary matchup, starting with Jotaro Kujo. Jotaro is a stand user. A stand is a powerful vision created by the user's own life energy. And there's more explanation on what a stand is. The author Araki states that stands are a physical manifestation of people's will and soul. Stands are also described as spiritual. In the JoJo Villa guidebook made by Araki, he regards stands as the spiritual energy of life and strong mental power, and that stands are endless with paranormal powers. They're also a fighting spirit controlled by the user's will. Finally, stands are also psychological energy which relates to the soul or mind and is similar to the supernatural and paranormal. Only stand users and people that can see spirits are capable of seeing stands and interact. Now that the background for what a stand is set, it's important to know that a stand user will take the same amount of damage as their stand. So this means that in terms of durability, stand users scale to their stand. Finally, in terms of reaction and combat speed, the user would scale to their stand as well because they need the reaction time to command them to perform actions, and the stand users themselves most of the time actively move in reaction to an enemy stand's attacks in battle, which would scale to their combats. Jotaro's stand is Star Platinum. It's the physically strongest and fastest stand within the alphabetical stand stats tiering of JoJo, and even has the statements and feats to back it up of being the fastest and strongest. One of the notable things said in Star Platinum's stand stats is that Star Platinum can move faster than the speed of light. Now, for some reason, people have contentions with this statement because people believe Star Platinum isn't that fast in JoJo Part 6 because the statement could be alluded to when Jotaro is in his prime in Part 3 of JoJo, which is wrong for a numerous amount of reasons, being that there's a lot of FTL feats, or faster than light beam to me, and scaling from Part 4 to 6 that Star Platinum scales far above due to, well, feats and statements. Not only that, but to shut this argument down completely is that in the actual Part 6 raw translation of Star Platinum's stand stats, it says, quote, "It surpasses the speed of light by sheer fast speed. At its peak, 18 years old, for 5 seconds it managed to stop time in this world. Additionally, its coordinative reactions and speed is incredible. It is the ultimate invincible standard," which makes an even clearer distinction than the fan translation that its speed is completely separate from his prime and never went down. It only specifies that Star Platinum's ability to stop time is the only ability, other than staying, that went down, as time stop did go down in terms of time, right, how long he could do it for through Part 4 to 6, as Jotaro couldn't stop time for 5 seconds anymore at the end of Part 3. But later on in JoJo, Stone Ocean, Jotaro is capable of stopping time for 5 seconds again, meaning he's back to his prime self. Finally, people think that Star Platinum got physically weaker over the series' years, right, which is pure headcanon. And even if we assume he does, using the really weird ass argument that stands get slower and weaker because of age against Jotaro in Stone Ocean, even though he's 40 years old in Part 6, and Grateful Dead, in Part 5, was aging people to at least their 60s to 90s in years of age, it wouldn't matter because it would be unquantifiable to how much weaker and slower Star Platinum could have gotten. Once again, headcanon. So with that out of the way, let's go on to AP and durability. Star Platinum should scale vastly above Silver Chariot, who was capable of deflecting sunbeams from a stand. The potency of the attack was calced at city level. All calcs will be linked in the description, by the way. And Star Platinum fought that same Silver Chariot that was amped in power 3 times by Anubis and was capable of like blitzing like him and like beating Anubis like multiple times in that fight. And Jotaro was holding back massively with Star Platinum until Anubis reached his 4th amp, where Jotaro had to go all out with Star Platinum. Finally, Jotaro has the durability to share the same damage as Star Platinum throughout the fight. And if y'all are still iffy about Jotaro sharing the same level of durability as Star Platinum, Jotaro fought Dio, and Dio's stand The World was shown and stated to be stronger and faster than Star Platinum, and Jotaro literally took hits from The World and could still get up and fight. More reason for Star Platinum being into the city level ranges comes from its scaling above stands from part 3 to 6 in AP because of the consistent statements of Star Platinum being the strongest, which includes Golden Experience's feat of cracking White Album's armor that's made out of ice, the same ice stated by Gyacho that has the potency to freeze a raging sea, which is a small city level feat, and no, Gyacho's statement can't be called into question because he literally tells the truth about what he's capable of the entire fight and shows it. With that being said, the fact that Golden Experience is even capable of cracking that armor should at least put like that stand in the large town level range in terms of AP, which Star Platinum massively scales above to small city level. Another feat Star Platinum scales above in terms of AP is from Weather Report. Weather Report can manipulate the weather and recreate weather phenomenon. And in part 6, Weather Report uses all the clouds in the city he's in to find one guy as quickly as he can. Weather Report notes that the enemy stand user is flying away on a plane and that there's no weather phenomenon that Weather Report can recreate to catch up to that plane, because the fastest hurricane in history is 280 kilometers per hour, while the plane is moving 400 kilometers per hour. Had the plane gone any slower than 280 kilometers per hour, Weather Report could have caught up to the stand user. Since Weather Report has the capability to recreate the fastest hurricane in history, that would be a large town level feat, because a hurricane can output 1.3 times 10 carat 17 joules per day, which is about 310 kilotons. This feat can scale higher to small city level, given the context Weather Report was using an entire city's weather, not a large towns. Now, you're probably asking, Jobber, in what way does this scale to anyone's AP, let alone Star Platinum's? Simple. A hurricane, by definition, is a storm with a violent wind. No different than it being a strong air pressure, which is what Weather Report actually puts behind his physical attacks as described. It can punch its opponents using a burst of strong air pressure. So, Weather Report in AP would easily scale to the hurricane the stand can create, as it's also the force behind its physical attacks, or at least bloodlusted attacks. With all that being said, Star Platinum scaling above Weather Report's feat should put it into the small city to city level range, making city level Star Platinum pretty consistent. Now on to speed. Star Platinum should easily be into the massively faster than light plus ranges by the thousands, because Star Platinum has statements and feats of being faster than Silver Chariot, the same Silver Chariot that cut Hangman that was moving at the speed of light, but Silver Chariot moved so fast that Hangman appeared frozen when he cut him. This feat was consistently calculated to be over 1,000 times faster than light. Star Platinum would even be faster than Silver Chariot with its armor off. Silver Chariot with its armor off grants it a speed boost so massive that it creates multiple after images that people with faster than light perceptions have a hard time reacting to. The reason why Star Platinum would scale over that Silver Chariot's speed is because, one, consistent statements of Star Platinum being the fastest stand in the series, and especially in part 3 of JoJo, but the second reason is that Anubis was so much more powerful and faster than Silver Chariot in their second fight that Polnareff never even considered Silver Chariot taking its armor off as a viable option to win, but the only option he did consider viable was to shoot, Chariot's sword again, which failed. After that, Polnareff literally didn't know what to do. And no, Silver Chariot losing a piece of its armor against Star Platinum is anime only. That didn't happen in the manga. Finally, Jotaro scales to his stand in terms of reaction and combat speed. Jotaro is able to react to Anubis and Silver Chariot, summon Star Platinum, and command it to fight a certain way. Jotaro was also capable of physically kicking a guy out of the way of Anubis' attack mid-swing. This feat should obviously scale to Jotaro's combat speed. Now, for abilities and hacks that'll matter in this video, Star Platinum will automatically protect Jotaro from danger, even unconsciously, demonstrated on 2 separate occasions, one where Jotaro shoots himself, and the second is when Jotaro has his stand disc like inside his body but not his memory disc, so Star Platinum is literally protecting Jotaro unconsciously. Star Platinum has great eyesight that Jotaro can share. Star Platinum was capable of seeing a black fly from Egypt in a pitch black picture and was capable of drawing it photorealistically so that it can actually be identified. It also helps that Jotaro is incredibly perceptive himself, consistently capable of finding weaknesses in opponents, whether it be physically or mentally or their abilities, and exploiting them. For example, physically against Anubis by breaking the sword, mentally against Darby by bluffing him, and against Dio exploiting his ego. Bars. Finally, ability-wise, by overlapping Dio's time stop with his own, and in part 4 taking a picture of Kira's father so that Josuke and himself aren't in the same space as the father, exploiting his ability. Jotaro can use Star Platinum to phase through objects and the body and grab internal organs or just people's internal organs. Star Platinum has an attack called Star Finger, which extends its 2 fingers towards you and pierces you. Jotaro can use Star Platinum to stop time for 5 seconds, obviously a Universal Plus ability in range. I proved this in previous videos. And can do whatever he needs to do in time stop, whether that be getting out of the way of an attack, setting up one, or just using Star Platinum to beat the fuck out of an enemy while they're frozen, and they'll just take all the damage and then time just unfreezes and they're fucked, right? It's all really up to Jotaro. Finally, Jotaro has passive fate manipulation and resistance against fate manipulation users. Essentially, the future, predictions, forecasts, etc. are all fate in JoJo. Thoth tried to make Jotaro fated to die, but Jotaro's passive fate resistance made fate turn against Thoth and Whole Horse. Jotaro's fate manipulation to actively be fated to win a fight comes from his bloodline of upholding justice through resolve, which makes him fated to win through an opportunity of any kind. If y'all are still skeptical about what I've just said, I'd have 3 videos explaining fate in JoJo's these are very important videos. Finally, experience, intelligence, and skill. Jotaro is 40 years old, and through his time from part 3 to 6, he has faced many bizarre and nuanced stand abilities, a town made up of fog controlling a few thousand people, a microscopic stand, a stand that ages you down to a child, a stand that can stop time, a stand that can blow people up from the inside out without a trace, a stand that can accelerate time and reset the universe, etc. And throughout all that experience, Jotaro has the intelligence and skill to deal with all of them the best he could, which is commendable. And the final thing I would like to note is that Jotaro is a very resourceful fighter, being able to pick up random things from the environment and make it useful in a fight, as well as use an enemy's ability or tool against them in a cheeky way. And the last strategy Jotaro has in terms of just what he can really do if things look really bad for him in the end is, run away, the secret Joestar technique, which is a better strategy than what some other shonen protagonists do. Before the segment ends, if any of y'all are interested in a more in-depth explanation of Jotaro, I have a video of him fully scaled out. Anyways, that's all for Jotaro. On to All Might. Before I continue on to AP and durability, I would like to give a shout out to the homie Toxic for the All Might scaling, and to Sucky for the My Hero Academia accounts. Both their TikToks will be linked down below in the description. Now, for this fight, I'm going to be scaling 2 versions of All Might for 2 different fight scenarios for Jotaro. Current All Might that has the hole in his stomach and is not in his prime, and Prime All Might. For current All Might, in terms of AP and durability, current All Might was capable of changing the weather, which was calced at mountain level, and Prime All Might is 60 times stronger than current All Might because current All Might states that while it took him 300 punches, he could have easily accomplished this feat within 5 punches in his prime. Also, there's many statements saying that All Might is vastly stronger and faster in his prime, which would make Prime All Might island level via multipliers. Current All Might also scales to Deku and Bakugo at 100% when they were able to disperse a storm that was also calced at mountain level, and yes, Heroes Rising is canon. Plus there's even a statement later on that Deku at 100% would be equal to current All Might. There's also factual statements about Shigaraki, or at least current Shigaraki, having prime like All Might power and speed, which would be consistent with the island level prime All Might scaling, because Shigaraki was capable of surviving a large island level attack by Stars and Stripes. So with that being said, it seems pretty consistent for current All Might to be mountain level in AP and durability, while prime All Might would be island level in AP and durability. Final thing to note is that current All Might's durability can be negated if his weak spot on his stomach is hit enough, which would make him weaker and shorten the time he can fight, because like he runs on a limited amount of fight time because of his injury, which is about 5 to 10 minutes of act. Now on to speed. For current All Might, his speed should be near sub-relativistic, because Deku at 100% during the villain hunt was capable of blitzing laden against bullets, which was stated by Deku to be greater than a howitzer. The only howitzer Deku would be referring to is Bakugo's howitzer impact, as that's like an explosion of nitroglycerin. This feat was calced at Mach 6,926, and to scale to current All Might, Deku literally says he's relative, or at least on par with current 100% All Might in this arc, as that's the only power All Might Deku knows. Obviously Prime All Might should scale way above this speed feat, and there's more proof that he does. Shigaraki in his fight with Stars and Stripes was stated to have the same speed as Prime All Might. This is important because he's capable of reacting to and fighting at the same level of speed as Stars and Stripes, who was capable of catching a laser, which was calced at 0.019% the speed of light, or sub-relativistic. On to hacks. Now, this is a possible consideration that All Might has fate manipulation. Do I believe he does? No. Before Night Eye, we have two character statements of All Might being able to change fate. They seem like random statements just trying to gas up how All Might will always win, rather than it being a consistent narrative point. If the man could really change fate, then Night Eye's future vision would be useless on All Might when working with him in battle, because what if there was a future where they were fated to lose, but All Might changed it like other characters suggested? It seems pretty clear they're exaggerating. Even All Might himself didn't want Night Eye to read his future, because he would discover All Might's grim fate. But if All Might can change the future and fate, why the hell would he care? If Night Eye knew All Might could change the future, which he should have, the guy was his sidekick for a long time with a future ability he uses all the time, he'd know that reading All Might's future would be useless because All Might would change it. Hell, Night Eye basically has his mind blown that just by Deku changing the future, because that's literally never happened before to Night Eye. Finally, experience, intelligence, and skills and techniques. All Might is around 49 years old. He's dealt with a lot of powerful villains with a unique amount of quirks. Also, that hero training is no joke. Intelligence wise, he's quick to put together an opponent's abilities in the fastest way and effective way to take them out with sheer power. All Might certainly isn't dumb. He can't be, because, well, all he has is strength and speed up against a lot of hacking and durability negating villains, for example, All For One. Now, for techniques, and this is a lot, All Might has California Smash, where All Might attacks with a frontal, a somersault to build up momentum, and air pressure, and it's all released into a smash. The Carolina Smash, All Might runs towards an enemy while keeping his hands in a cross position, then in a downwards cross chop to the enemy's head. The Detroit Smash, All Might performs that same attack as Texas Smash, except this move is just a downward punch instead of a straight punch. The punch is powerful enough to create shockwaves and stuff, change the weather. We got the Missouri Smash. All Might runs towards an enemy while keeping his hands flat and hits his enemy on the head while charging past them in order to knock them out. We got the Nebraska Smash. While throwing a punch, All Might rotates his arm to create a tornado. the hamster smash, All Might punches the air while in the air to propel himself backwards, like towards his enemy, and smash his body into them. The Oklahoma smash, All Might whirls around while his enemies are latched onto him, spinning with enough force that they are like released easily, like and thrown into the concrete. We got the Texas smash, All Might throws a punch in or to create like a wind, like pressure, like to blow people away or objects away. We got the United States of Smash, All Might's final and strongest move, using the last embers of One for All left in him. All Might delivers a massive punch with enough force to like reverberate like shockwaves. Now, that pretty much concludes the All Might scaling. With all that out of the way, let's go over how Jotaro versus All Might would go and who'd win. So for this versus, we're gonna have 4 rounds unequal stats and 1 like round of equal stats. So let's go to the equal stats part. First round is Jotaro versus current All Might. Jotaro would absolutely speed blitz and whittle down All Might's durability in 5 to 10 minutes and claim victory. Sure, All Might is more durable and stronger than Jotaro, even granted that if he hits Jotaro is like dead on the spot. But Jotaro with Star Platinum and its city level AP wouldn't have too much of a gap to close in terms of harming and weakening a mountain level character over time, especially when Star Platinum is aura barraging millions of attacks thousands of times faster than light. All Might would literally be a statue and wouldn't even comprehend what's going on. Even if we don't accept Star Platinum being able to whittle All Might's durability down, either Jotaro would notice All Might's weak spot in his stomach area and constantly punch it, or just punch it anyways without knowing because the aura barrage attacks everywhere on your body. All Might would be hurt bad and eventually deform to his skinny self, and Jotaro would one-shot. Jotaro wouldn't even need time stop for this round. This fight ends pretty quick. Jotaro takes this like low to possibly mid difficulty. Now, second round. Second round is Jotaro versus Prime All Might. No fate manipulation for Jotaro. Now, while Jotaro would have the speed advantage, this time the durability of Prime All Might is way too high for Jotaro to whittle down over time, even with time stop, because, I mean, the guy has like large, island level durability. This is a huge jump from mountain level, okay? And Jotaro's still city level in this scenario. And to top it off, like, Prime All Might doesn't have the weak spot that current All Might does, so there's nothing for Jotaro to really exploit. He just has to beat him up over time and pray. Prime All Might will soon switch up like his direct strategy and instead of trying to punch Jotaro, because he'll catch on that it'll never work because Jotaro is just way too damn fast for any of his attacks to hope to hit him. At that point, I see Prime All Might abusing his destructive capability in hopes to hit Jotaro and find an opening to get one good hit in. Jotaro won't make it easy though, as he's going to be abusing time stop in every strategy he knows. Eventually, Jotaro will get tired and slip up and get one-shotted by Prime All Might in a hard-fought fight, which is why round 2 I give this to a Prime All Might with high difficulty. Third round is Jotaro versus Prime All Might. Fate manipulation for Jotaro. Jotaro low diffs Prime All Might. Jotaro has consistent fate manipulation feats, while All Mights are just shady at best and few and far between. Jotaro will be fated to win the battle, and even if All Might could change fate with a punch, the act of All Might changing Jotaro's fate would make fate turn against All Might, making him lose the fight still. Fourth and final round for unequal stats is Jotaro versus Prime All Might. Both bloodlusted, no morals. Jotaro no diffs Prime All Might. Jotaro with the far superior speed simply stops time, walks up to Prime All Might, and uses Star Platinum to phase through his body to crush or stop Prime All Might's heart, killing him. Now, equal stats, Jotaro versus Prime All Might. This fight would be pretty good, but there's 3 factors of why I believe Jotaro would win this mid difficulty. The first is that Prime All Might can't see or interact with Star Platinum, so he's not going to know what he's getting hit by or when he'll get hit, which Jotaro would exploit. Second, Jotaro's intelligence, while Prime All Might is smart in his own right, I don't believe he has a snowball's chance in hell of outsmarting Jotaro. Jotaro has insane intelligence feats throughout JoJo that would literally make him the smartest character in My Hero Academia. For example, right, Jotaro literally made a plan to defeat a priest with infinite speed. That guy was accelerating the entire universe, right? And Jotaro's plan of defeating him almost worked. Meanwhile, All Might's solution to All for One is to simply punch him harder. Swap both All Might and Jotaro with who they thought, All Might would immediately die to Maidenhead Pucci, while Jotaro would have figured out All for One and how to counter him successfully. Third and finally, Time Stop. Jotaro's get out of jail free card that lets him have the ability to deal free damage to Prime All Might without any resistance. Prime All Might is going to put up a fight and, just like before, use his destructive capability to his advantage to try and blind and off balance Jotaro to find an opening, but it's just futile because Jotaro will know exactly what Prime All Might is doing and what he's planning on doing because of his intelligence and experience, in which Jotaro will instantly come up with an unorthodox counter. Plus, Jotaro can just stop time to get out of the way of a tough spot that Prime All Might set him up in. Anyways, Jotaro's got way too many advantages, but I really do think this is just a really good fight. So in conclusion, Jotaro wins more times than not against All Might, especially his versions, 4 rounds out of 5 to be exact. Anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed the video. If any of you want to see a specific video from me, be sure to hit me up on Discord. Cash App payments only, all linked down below in the description. Also, if any of y'all have any major disagreements with the All Might or Jotaro scaling, I'm willing to discuss it with you peacefully in my Discord server, VC, which means voice chat. I will not text debate you. That's all I've got. See y'all later. Peace.